Right.
Right.
Pankaj, let's just quickly pull up the Nifty and the Sensex as they've opened right now in terms of pre-open. The pre-open is slightly positive, 85.98 on the Nifty, and Sensex is about 27,839. Let's get in our guests right now. SB Prasad is going to join us in just a couple of minutes, but I have Imtiaz Qureshi there, Meghna Malkan and Ruchit Jain, all three with us. Let me start off with Meghna. Meghna, give us your picks for the day, and then we'll come back to the logic.
I have two sell picks and one buy pick for today. My sell picks are HDIL and Karnataka Bank Limited, and my buy call is on Voltas Limited.
All right. Let's get Ruchit's calls.
Good morning. My first call is a buy call in Bharti Infratel with a stop loss below 337 and target of 363. Next call is a buy call in PTC India with stop loss below 75.5 for target of 85. And my last call is a sell call in HDIL with stop loss above 96 for target of 85.
Imtiaz, what about you?
Very good morning. Yes, I would be following the same trend what we are looking right now. Putting two sell call and one buy call. Sell would be in Tata Steel and Asian Paint, where both the side we had seen on intraday and daily chart weakness. And on the Bank of Baroda, we are recommending the buy because the stock has been almost outperforming from last couple of trading session.
All right, great. That means we're seeing only Ruchit has given us one sell call and two buy calls, but there seems to be an overwhelming move towards sell. Meghna, your view on the Nifty?
I believe Nifty is broadly still yet into the range, but it's only after it goes above the range of 8750, I would say that we can go long. Nevertheless, stocks have been performing sector-wise, individual stocks from certain sectors have been performing, but Nifty broadly is into the sideways range, I still do.
Sideways range, and we've been seeing that for some time now. Imtiaz, if I look at the Nifty, then we've seen this almost for a month now, a sideways movement that's been going on, no clear breakout either side. What would you say is a sign of strength? The level, Meghna said 8750. If it goes above 8750, then she'll see it as a sign of strength. Anything above below 8400, which is still a far way off actually, more than 150 odd points. Anything below 8400, would that be a significant weakening, sign of weakening?
Actually, I'm looking for the level for today and for tomorrow would be 8540.
Okay.
On the weekly chart, last 2 weeks back, where we had seen that a candle formation of 8728 as a top, and the bottom at 8540 where the closing was as a doji pattern. So there was that candle was indicating many important indicators for the technical. In terms of candle formation, it was doji. On the candle formation, it was hammer, and more or less it was a very much consolidation zone. And the next candle was in the line with the previous candle. So I think so 8540 would act a very crucial role at today. And if at all we today closes below 8540, we definitely open the lower side of 8450 to 8400. So yes, I would be looking for going short on the Nifty below 8540.
Just to explain to our viewers a little bit, and I would like you to take us through that doji. When you hear doji, it's a formation which is similar, close to a star that you see. Basically, the open and close are very close to each other. There has been a movement towards the high. The bulls pushed it up, and the bears tried to pull it down. But basically, it was even Stevens. And when you see a hammer forming, it actually looks like a hammer. Essentially, what has happened is that you've had an open, and then the bears managed to pull it down sharply, but the bulls pushed it up again, and therefore you see a bit of a candle. The entire body of the candle looks like a hammer. Both of these would indicate a strong fight, but moving towards the end of a movement, right, Imtiaz?
Absolutely right. No, nothing to be changed in your definition. Yes, the doji means open and close at the same price, nearby the same price. And hammer pattern means from the bottom, the bulls try to push the stocks to go up or put the market to go up. Right now, what is important in the technical front, if at all high is or low, wherever we see the breakout, that is what we call trend indicator. If the Nifty goes above 8728, then it would be a trend on the bull side. If the Nifty break below 8540, would be a bear on the foot. But as what we are seeing from the SGX Nifty, that market is likely to open on a flattish to negative tone. If at all breaks below or maybe maintain for 15-20 minutes below 8540, will give the market in the hands of bear.
Right, okay. SB Prasad is here with us. SB, before I take your picks, and you know, all our viewers are actually waiting for that, I'm sure. But quickly, your take on what Yellen had to say.
Yeah, I think there would be definitely, I expect some correction to happen, you know, I mean, because first time she's come out fairly strongly, because otherwise she's been, you know, fairly sort of subdued like a good central banker, but this time it's been a fairly strong statement, you know. So because she's been always saying that, look, global uncertainty, etc. Now Brexit is out of the way. China scene is, I guess, sort of in terms of numbers, etc., is getting clearer for them. So now they are saying, hold on. As far as the local economy is concerned, there's a bit of overheating happening. The indicators seem to mention that because employment is chugging along, etc. So she's clearly given a sign that, look, signal that the kind of long expected, anticipated hike is around the corner. So that's certainly going to, even a sentimental impact other than an actual impact as to what will happen.
Okay, as we usually, as you always bet on the blue chip, things with strong pedigree. Today you have two counters. My question to you is that, are these buys at this level or are these buys on dips? Because you are also saying that one should expect some sort of a correction, right?
No, buys on dips. I mean, I should have told that to your colleague when she called me earlier this morning. It's definitely buy on dips because market is clear, which I've been telling for a long time, you know, and HPCL has shown a bit of a you know, downward correction after the reaction to their results, but certainly buy on dips because market as a whole has clearly gone up quite substantially.
But even here, if there is liquidity and there has been a correction, let's say things in which have run up, then both SBI and HPCL are still relatively cheap, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I guess as far as SBI is concerned, there's some kind of a public sector bias, negative bias, if at all one can. Negative is a bit of a strong word vis-a-vis the private sector banks. And as far as HPCL is concerned, BPCL and of late even IOCL, their valuations, BPCL always had the best premium valuations in the oil and gas space, in the oil marketing space in India. So in that sense, HPCL has always been playing a kind of a, you know, catch me up kind of game. Yeah. But you're right. You're absolutely right. Definitely.
All right. So just stay with us. I just want to quickly ask one thing to Ruchit. I didn't get his take on what he thinks is happening to the Nifty and what he would look at the levels that he's going to watch closely. Ruchit.
Yeah, so probably on the Nifty front, if you see almost last 1.5 months, the prices have consolidated, and still there are no signs of clear directional breakout unless we see definite breakout of the high and the low of last 1.5 months. So support is placed in the range of 85.40 to 85.20, which is the low of the last 1.5 months for probably 5 weeks, we must say, and the higher end resistance is there around 8700. So unless we give a breakout of either of this range, either 85.40, 82.20, 85.20 support or above 8700, I think this consolidation would continue and there would be a more of a stock specific move in the market still going ahead rather than any directional move in the index.
In fact, let's just look at where the Nifty is right now, and it's actually up 0.1% at 85.84. Round that up, 85.83, 85.84, and our pivot of the day is actually at 85.81. Or 85.81 is the pivot. Depends on how you calculate the pivot. The pivot point is essentially what we take the previous high, low and close and divide it by 3. Just take an average of the 3 and you see 85.81. If the markets trade above the pivot, then generally one says that the tendency is bullish. Now 2 points above the pivot, and we were expecting the indication from the SGX Nifty was actually an opening closer to about 85.45, 85.50 and closer to that support, first support of 85.40. So as of now, when the bids have come in on the pre-open, the indicator is still bullish. A lot of results came out, and Pankaj, why don't you take us through some of them and then we'll come back to our experts.
Right. So, 2 to 3 important companies which declared numbers. We'll be talking to a couple of them as well. So, P&G declared its Q4 numbers. That's Procter & Gamble. The numbers were okay. It was not that great in terms of the numbers. We'll just pull up the numbers for you. So, as far as P&G is concerned, it was a quarter for them. There you go with the numbers. 1.8% higher in terms of profit, and sales numbers broadly absolutely flat. Not much of volumes happened into this name, but that's a name which declared numbers. The next one that I want to mention, of course, is what happened to Wakrangi Software, or Wakrangi Limited, as you know, it's known right now. So total income came in at 917, up 30%. Profits came in at 40 odd percent. I calculated the EBITDA margins. It was broadly on the lower side. So majority of the beat that came in was slightly higher because of better sales, but margins were broadly in line. In fact, there was a slight bit of negative bias on Wakrangi Software Limited. SB, I just wanted to have your view on Tata Motors. Now the numbers came during market hours on Friday. The stock essentially did quite well after the numbers, but the con call was also positive.
Yeah, I think see, Tata Motors, as far as the local business is concerned, it's JLR which has been kind of giving them a ballast the past few years, especially when the Indian economy was stuttering. Now with the monsoon being very good, Pankaj, and the expectation is that agricultural production will also be good. So typically what happens is, then Tata Motors, when the economy starts expanding, then Tata Motors is in many ways a proxy for the real economy expansion. And therefore, I think the expectation is in terms of the domestic business, especially the commercial vehicles, not so much the passenger cars. The expectation is that that should get reflected and be built into the price. And one section of the market feels that maybe the price is not fully discounted. That one can debate it, and that's why expectation is Tata Motors. That's why the share is definitely looked up. I like this share. Now there's always this debate whether you do DVR or the share. DVR, the only issue is kind of liquidity. DVR is okay in a bull market. In a slightly flat bearish market, typically the DVR discount is higher. If I were to make a choice, I would say the share, but I think valuation, perhaps I would wait some correction to happen, especially Yellen, etc. The systemic correction to happen. I would wait.
All right. Right before Brexit, I think Meghna, you were on our channel and you suggested that Tata Motors is a buy. And in fact, probably people got an opportunity on Brexit day itself because it dropped quite a bit like anything else. Are you still holding on to that? Because if I look at Tata Motors chart, it more or less reflects the same thing that we saw on the Nifty, right? Consolidating without a significant breakout.
It does. Well, actually, if I have to look at higher time frame charts, if you see there was a larger pattern forming on monthly charts, which led to the rally. But if I have to see the momentum on monthly charts, it's halted at the bullish level as of now. It did begin the decline as expected, but then again the result changed the whole scenario on Friday, I believe. Now what has happened is we are at a level where moving above, we formed an indecisive candle pattern, like just how we explained some time ago. The fight between bull and bears, that's what happened on Friday. So ideally, for me to be convinced to again continue going long on this, it has to move above the indecisive level of 522. But my bias more of would remain on the on staying away, because I know the momentum on monthly charts is at resistance. So that's how I would look at Tata Motors.
Okay, so that call stands reversed. If you'd made some money, then great, because that Tata Motors you could have bought on June 22nd at a very low price. Okay, we're very close to market opening right now. So there are a few other stocks in news. One of them is Aurobindo. I just asked my director to tell me if I have time to go through. Okay, we don't have time for Aurobindo, but let's just take a look at Pankaj. Why don't you take us through the big caps?
Right. So, in the large cap moves, we were talking about Tata Motors. It's opened up 3.5%. Tata Motors DVR is also up to 2.5%. So, both these names were top gainers on Friday. They continue to be among the top gainers. Tata Motors, volumes, of course, 3 lakh shares on the first tick, not very high. Tata Motors, 64,000 in volumes, but about 2.6% higher. Both these names are looking on the positive side. ICICI Bank is the next top gainer. It's up 0.3, 0.4%. Nothing major that I can pick up, and even volumes are just about 50 50,000 shares. Zee Entertainment, BPCL, Dr. Reddy's are some of the other gainers, but very, very marginal gains, whether you talk about Zee, whether you talk about BPCL, or you talk about Dr. Reddy's. As far as losers are concerned, Adani Ports is down 2%. Again, it was among the top losers on Friday as well. No particular reason. The last series, that's the August series which Adani Port had was very, very good, backed by results, backed by news flow coming in from the management. So it's down about 2.5%. For Lupin, we've seen a downgrade coming in. It's not a downgrade on the call, but Credit Suisse has reduced its target price quite materially to 1,290 rupees. Again, the same concentration risk which they have pointed out earlier for Lupin is what they are pointing out. 1,500 on the first ticks. ITC, SBI, Ultratech are some of the other names that are down. But again, very marginal losses for some of these names. GMR Infra, backed by an order inflow, is up about 3% odd. Vakrangi Software Limited or Vakrangi Limited, we just took you through the numbers. On the face of it, the numbers are looking good. It's up 3.5%. Let's just pull up Apollo Tyres. So there was a sharp decline on Thursday and Friday in the rubber prices in Kerala, which is quoted. So it's up about 2.5%. Not seeing any other tire names coming in on the top list, but this one is definitely coming in. Maybe that's the reason that on the domestic business you would expect some sort of movement as far as margins are concerned. Some losers. Adani Enterprise is also a loser. We spoke about Adani Ports. Adani Enterprise is also down 2%. So both the Adani Group stocks are looking in on the lower side. Stride Sarshun continues to decline. It's down about 1.8, 1.9%. BHEL, Bharti Infratel, PNB are some of the other losers.
All right, let's just pull up, as we always do, the top 50 counters in terms of turnover, which means that there's money flowing into these counters when trade is happening. Then we break them up into the ones which have high movement. So let's start off with Trident Limited, and Trident is actually up 4.2%. They also did a presentation, but the big thing, of course, is the news that came that Target, which discontinued all ties with Welspun India, is now considering Trident. Trident makes similar stuff. It makes towels, it makes bed sheets and stuff. Is considering giving that order, which is quite a bit because Target is Welspun's second biggest client, giving that to Trident. It can change Trident's entire fortunes. GMR Infra, very high volumes, 3.8% up. And the reason for that is that they won the bid for the Mopa Airport, which is the second new airport which is going to open in Goa. It's going to cost about 3,000 odd crores to build, and GMR will of course be funding it through debt. The big question is that GMR already has about 39,000 crores in debt. Can it do that? 40 years concession period that can be extended by 20 years. BOT project. This is going to be Mopa Airport. They're also getting close to 320 acres of land for developing commercially on the city side in Goa. So that can again change GMR's fortune down to almost, it's just about a 13 rupee stock right now from its peak at one time. But a lot of interest. Tata Motors, as Pankaj mentioned, Apollo Tyres, he mentioned, Welspun India. That is interesting gradually, and I want to talk to both all our guests about it. Is up 2.6%, 51 rupees right now. It had dropped quite a bit, had gone down to a low. Let me just try and see what low it had hit recently. To about 49 odd rupees was the low, I think, for Welspun, and it has moved up and has gained quite a bit since then. There's Tata Motors DVR also up 2.3%. CEAT, Pankaj mentioned, Axis Bank up 1.2%. Tata Chemicals up 1.1%. Reliance Communication having another good day. It went up about 5% on the Friday and up about 1% right now. What are the losers? Adani Ports and SEZ 2.7%. JP Associates 2.7%. HDIL down about 1.8%. And SP Apparel, we spoke to the management the other day, down about 1.6%. Jubilant Life down again 1.5%. So Pharma doing slightly badly at this time. Let's pull up Sri Renuka Sugars for you. There's news that's coming. They've just informed the exchanges that the problems that they had with debt in Brazil, in their Brazil operations, their debt could now be restructured. They come to a deal there, and that's why it's up 5.6%. If it's possible, we'll just show you the volumes on that as soon as we can, or in just about 10-14 minutes we'll be able to tell you what the volumes are once it starts registering on our systems. The Sensex and Nifty both down, but the Nifty is actually holding up quite a bit. It's up, it's at about 85.64 right now. I just want to quickly take a look at what the day low was here. The day low, we went down to 85.58 only, so it's actually doing pretty well. The Nifty at 85.62, doing very well indeed at this moment. Imtiaz, Nifty at 85.62, almost shrugging off anything that's come from the US.
Yes, last week, last trading session, Friday, the low was 8547, and we are still above that. No doubt we've seen some pressure coming in the market, but still we are holding to the lower level. One thing was very much important, if I draw a trend line from the level of 6825 and then at the point of Brexit, if I meet this both the points, then I think so today's low is very much close to that trend line. So that means any given point of time, if Nifty closes below 8547 or 8540, I think so this is going to give a very much indication that short-term top has been formed and market is on the edge to start a new correction.
All right, I just want to ask Imtiaz first, and then I'm going to ask our other guests as well. Welspun India, let's just pull that one up, making a comeback. I know that it dropped all the way quite a bit. It was at a year low. It has been for maybe, let me just try and pull up the 3-year chart for myself, and well, it's almost reached that level where one expects quite a bit of support, right? That 49.50 level. And would you be a buyer there, or you just wait it out and see if it makes a recovery?
I would not be a buyer at that this point of time, where the stock is almost from the top is lost almost 60 to 70%.
Yeah.
Somewhere around few days back it was 120, and right now it's coming back to around 50 rupees. So I think so this is an indication that might be some offloading had been taken place.
Okay.
If any rise come, and if I'm holding such a stock in my portfolio, then I definitely try to exit the position.
All right, let me get in Ruchit here. Ruchit, Welspun, would you actually look at it at all again, now that the falling knife has actually fallen and hit a board and it's kind of there? Would you look at it?
Well, there has been a lot of queries on this in last couple of days regarding whether we should buy, just because the prices have fallen from 110, 115 levels to now 50, 55.
Yeah.
Usually when the stock goes to this such kind of lower circuit, what happens that people who are already holding the long positions at higher levels, they don't get a chance to exit. So that's where we have seen that those who are holding from above 105 levels, they didn't have any chance to exit because of 3 days of continuous lower circuit. So now any sort of pullback moves when would come in this stock, those traders which are holding it long position at high levels, they would look to exit. So that would continuously build in selling pressure in this stock, even if there is a pullback move, and hence we are advising traders to stay away from this stock, even if there's a 10 to 15% of pullback move in this counter.
Okay, let me get a fundamental view on this. And as we, when one looks at a thing like this, it seems to be a deluge of bad news, and the stock has just halved in just 3-4 days. Do you still feel that this is a good business and there is a business opportunity there, or do you think that this is not going to recover? They'll have to change their name, the management might not be at fault, or whatever. They might have to change their name, come back later, and it's 2-3 years away.
I would frankly tend to stay away. Though, as I mentioned last time we spoke about Welspun, generally, there's been a quality management. Obviously, something has gone wrong.
Yeah.
And I've not been tracking in terms of what news the management has said in terms of what they're doing to turn things around or clarify.
They've got EY to audit them. And there's been rumors that there was some sort of a whistleblower who seems to have contacted Target. These are all rumors, market rumors. No one knows what really happened. But, there seems to be a quality control problem which has triggered such a huge reaction from Target.
Absolutely. So, given that background, I would frankly, there are enough and more stocks available in the market otherwise. So, I would much rather wait it out. And always, the greed is a dangerous factor in markets in such situations. Greed in a great name, also you can lose money, but in these kind of situations where, companies really been beaten like anything, I would frankly, keep away. And just a quick one is I'm reminded of the quote from, Mr. Subhash Goenka's book, where he says the rice exports he was doing to Russia when he started and what kind of quality. I mean, it's more in a lighter vein. I hope that's not the case with Welspun, because a certain quality was promised to Russia, and apparently the people who were exporting at that time were offering a much inferior quality. But they all got away with it at that time. So I hope that's not the scenario in this case. I would much rather wait it out, to be honest.
Have you tracked Trident at all? In fact, I was just, they've done a presentation, and yesterday I was looking at that presentation, which they put out, sent to the exchanges. This is the company which is supposedly going to gain and benefit from what has happened to Welspun, because many of the suppliers buyers are now considering, Target especially, considering Trident to fill in the gap filled by Welspun. Have you found time to look at it at all, SV?
No, not really, except that generally as a policy, these kind of companies which are basically playing the labor arbitrage game, I think one has to do a lot more studies. So I've not, but clearly my ears have got pricked hearing what you just mentioned in terms of rumors that they may get the order, etc. But I don't really track this stock.
Meghna, do you track Trident? Because it's not one of those stocks which has volume. It's suddenly for the past 2-3 days, you're seeing these huge volumes, which are probably 100 times what they have traded recently. Look at that, 90,000 is the 10-day average, and right now you already have 3 lakhs, 2.98 million shares traded. So Meghna, do you track it? Doesn't look like liquid, wouldn't, most probably not on technical traders, chartists chart at all.
Yeah, certainly. What you're saying is right. There's been a sudden surge in volumes. In fact, this recent Welspun Trident, this Welspun Target incident made me look at this stock, and it's actually a good formation. If you see the monthly chart, it's broken out from it had broken out from the 40 levels, which had been a long consolidation of many years. And in fact, the recent decline, it's taken support at that level. That's a very good sign technically. And now what it's trying to do is trying to go above the previous high, which I believe is a very good sign as well. So I believe this could be, irrespective of the news, of course, that's a trigger. But this could be a very good, a good stock to go for long term into it. So I think it's a good one. And once it gives a weekly close above 61 levels, I think that's the time we should be looking at it for long.
I mean, 3 days ago it was trading at 46.50. It opened at 46.50, and today it's trading at 48.75. Just 3 sessions, 2 sessions, and what, 15 minutes today. So that's the kind of movement we're seeing. Trident at about 60 rupees right now, almost. So the high appears to be about 62 rupees, recent high. Meghna, would you actually get into it only if it crosses that high, or is it still worth getting into?
No, rather it's not in crossing the high. I would get into it only after it closes above 62 on a weekly basis. This is a longer term breakout. I'd rather wait for a couple of percentage move above the breakout level, wait for it to sustain and then go long.
Okay, let's just pull up Aurobindo right now, and we'll also pull up the news item behind it, because I would like all our guests to give us a view on that. And Aurobindo Pharma is now picking up. So the news there is that Aurobindo might be buying Teva's UK business. Now Teva, which because of European laws has to sell off some of its assets. They're going to sell that UK business, and Aurobindo, and privately had Intas. It is the only pharma company with, I think, private company with a $1 billion revenue right now in India. Aurobindo is going to compete with PE firms. There was some talks that European pharma majors might try to buy or Teva's UK business as well, but that's not come through. Now Teva UK had sales of about $250 to $300 million last year. That's what the range was. So that's a significant business to gain, $1 billion. And apparently Economic Times reports that Aurobindo has also, along with its bid on Friday, handed in details of how it's going to finance that. SV, is this in some ways, Aurobindo has been trading at a much lower multiple than others, other pharma companies, has had some problems in the past, breaking out of those problems. But is this going to be that big game changer?
Yeah, but I'll tread with caution because I think one needs to do a lot more study on this. I also had a quick look in today's news item.
Yeah.
Because typically what happens in these kind of transactions, sometimes it could be also a case of winner's curse. So one would much rather tread with caution on this. And there are enough other, frankly, I would still look at a Sun Pharma, for instance, if I need to play this game. You know, I have a bias to large caps. So that be, and just a quick, also this thing is that I do have a small holding in Sun and as well as SBI and HPCL. I didn't mention it earlier, I thought I should mention. So I would wait for more info on Aurobindo before really taking a position, a kind of a opinion on this.
Let me get Ruchit into this. Ruchit, do you track Aurobindo?
Yeah, we have been closely tracking this name and what this stock has done in past 7 months. In fact, from 29th of Jan this year, the stock has formed a lower tops, couple of lower tops and higher bottoms. So usually when the stocks generally forms lower tops and higher bottoms, that's a sign of consolidation and formation of somewhat a triangular pattern. So as per the pattern, only if the stock gives a breakout, then I think the momentum would comes into the stock. So as of now, the stock is continuously trading within that consolidation or within that contracting pattern, and only if there's a move above 810 815 range, which was the recent high, then only that would be the breakout and that would lead to almost all-time high levels as per the pattern. So I think
but is it too much to look at see, let's say, the movement from sometime around the middle of May and till now as a inverse head and shoulders kind of pattern? I mean, that would be too bullish a reading?
Well, there's no clear left shoulder as per that inverse head and shoulders pattern, so I won't give much weightage to that. And what has happened that the probable inverted head and shoulders pattern, there was a very less time frame for formation of that. And on a broader term chart, it's been 7 months wherein this consolidation of the triangular has taken place. So I would give more weightage to the longer term pattern, that is what has been formed in last 6 to 7 months of time frame. So only if there's a breakout above 810 815, then only I think this positive momentum would get carried away, which we have seen in during last week. So rather than taking a trade now, I would wait for a close above 815, then only I would look to buy this stock.
Okay, Meghna or Imtiaz, do you have a view, a technical view on Aurobindo? Let me start with Meghna.
As of now, no. If you see the whole pharma sector, I mean, everything is sideways to negative. Oro is one of them, and I would not touch. In fact, something interesting. If you see the monthly chart, it's been holding on, the price has been holding on to the 20 period moving average, but the candlestick formation does not make me convinced, does not convince me good enough to go long on the stock as of now. If I have to go back a step down and see the weekly chart as well, RSI, which is a momentum indicator that I track, you see the whole thing is moving sideways within the 40-60 range. That is one more thing. So if it's in the sideways range, it doesn't go in the long list as well, neither in the sell list. So I would rather wait and watch in this stock.
So it'll have to move by about 100 odd rupees before anyone can take a clear call on it, right? I'm not sure that Meghna got that, can hear me, but let me try with Imtiaz in that case. Imtiaz, any call on Aurobindo which is in the news today?
If I keep news aside and if I just have a look on the technical chart, then definitely I would recommend this stock as a buy until another stock sustain above 782. A few days back, maybe I'm talking about 1 or 2 trading session back, the stock was around 782 given a clear breakout. So if I would be a trader, I would have definitely taken a long position on the future side of Aurobindo Pharma, keeping a stop loss of 750 or 755 somewhere around, and target would be somewhere around 899 or maybe somewhere close to 900, but not a very immediately horizon, but would definitely wait for a 1 or 2 week of time frame. And in this entire trading strategy, I would definitely go for the putting a 820 call option as a right.
Okay, 820 call option as a right. SV, before I let you all go, just quick view on what you think is the GMR Infra winning that bid in Goa. They're also bidding for another foreign airport, but that bid on Goa.
No, basically, as you said rightly, there are challenges in terms of their already geared position. But it's just that, when Prem Vatsa, the kind of valuation on which the deal happened, I think markets keeping that in mind, and 320 acres of land to develop commercially, I think that's another factor that's gone into it. So these are the reasons why, markets have responded positively. Generally, one has to be very careful unless you have deep pockets, long holding period. These are all slightly dicey. Only one quick thing I just wanted to mention on before we go off air is that typically in any M&A transactions, when the markets are bearish, people who buy companies and you take a position on that stock, you do well across sectors. Okay. In a bull market like the way we are finding now, valuations tend to be too rich. So that's a kind of a caveat emptor or a buyer beware I would always recommend.
And that's for Aurobindo, right?
Absolutely.
That's
in the context of Aurobindo especially.
In the context of Aurobindo. All right, thank you so much. But before I let you go, one by one, I just need to take the disclosures. I think SV has already given them. Let me start with Meghna. Meghna, any disclosures that you'd like to make?
Yeah, there may be holdings of myself as well as my students in the stocks that we discussed today.
All right. Imtiaz?
The stocks which we had discussed is right now, personally I'm not holding any position, but the same review has been given to the client.
Okay, and Ruchit?
I don't have any personal holding in any of the stocks that we have discussed, but have given advice to some of our clients, so they may have some holdings.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. We have to take a very short break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes, and we'll be talking a little bit